Welcome back to Around the Table with Stacy Smith as we take a look at investing in the economy. And U.S. relations with China have not been the best for some time, and that is affecting U.S. companies that do business in China. So, Frank, should an investor be concerned, especially if they own stock in companies that do business in China?
Of course, investors should be concerned. I'm not sure it's concerns enough, but in the case of China, I think concern is warranted. China has been trying to get their economy off the snide for a year or more now, and they're failing. That economy is struggling to move forward, and they're highly stimulative, as we were. They produced a lot of goods for the world, and right now they're having trouble, and they're trying to become consumers. And my personal opinion is that is a cultural conundrum, as that word we've come to like today. They are not consumers. The Chinese culture is not like the U.S. culture. We are consumers, and they are not. And that change is not likely to happen in the matter of years. It'll take centuries for that to change, in all probability, if it changes at all. And that being the case, we've sold a lot of goods and services to Chinese. They're making it difficult for us over there because they're trying to control everything internally so they can grow their economy, and they don't want to send it over here. That's understandable. The Secretary Yellen just came back from China trying to smooth things over because we have been rocking the boat a lot with them, and they have with us. And quite frankly, I think it's just a two-way street, and that's the way it has to be because we were struggling. We aren't. They are now struggling, and they need to rock the boat for their sake. Hopefully, we will understand that and not start throwing weapons around. But most wars, as we all know, are not started because of the headline. They're started because of money. And this thing has to be smoothed over, and hopefully Yellen's optimism is warranted, and I just hope so. And that she came back with some optimistic comments, and that if that's true and it stays that way, which is also an issue always, the flow of the economy could work. We are in the process of transferring what we've been doing with China toward India. And the reason is India, in fact, is growing and China is not.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest challenge there is just the demographics, you know, the aging of the population, and, you know, what impact that has on an economy overall. So, you know, there are a lot of challenges there. And I think that it will open up opportunity for other parts of the world in terms of providing goods and services, but big hurdles.
Regardless of the demographics, and I agree with Carrie there that that's a problem internally in China, but China is still the second most populous country in the world. So it's still a large, sizable, addressable market for U.S. companies. I wouldn't be necessarily super concerned because China's growth rate is slowing down and the relations between U.S. and China aren't great. I mean, to be frankly speaking, I mean, they haven't been great they've never really been great. I'd be more concerned about the geopolitical risks. As Frank mentioned, war. I mean, there is not a zero chance that China eventually invades Taiwan, so that could be a problem there. But I think China needs the U.S. more than the U.S. needs China in most instances, in most aspects. So I wouldn't be that concerned about your investment in whatever U.S. company that has exposure to China really going to zero there.
All right, Kim, I'm going to ask you this question, and you got about a minute to wrap it up here. And that is, Michael just said he's not that concerned about a lot of the businesses there. What about the tech companies, the semiconductors? Is that an area of concern for investors?
It should be, and it's going to hurt us in the short term. And I'm going to take this from an American investor perspective. We do not want to sell them our very best chips. That's pretty clear because China's deploying them in military applications. So I get that. In the short term, that may hurt companies like NVIDIA and other more highly exotic kind of chip developers. But I think we should make that sacrifice. Now, I don't think any authoritarian government will ever be able to match a free government with respect to the will of its people to design and create new things. Ownership, it's a thing. We need to have ownership for people to take risks. So in the long term, the US wins. In the short term, it might hurt our stocks.
All right. I want to thank you for joining us. There's a lot more to discuss on how to manage your portfolio, and we will be doing that in the upcoming sessions. Again, a thank you to Frank and to Michael and to Carrie and to Kim for joining us. And we hope that you join us again for the next edition of Around the Table with Stacy Smith as we take a look at the economy and investing.